I'm Rob. This is a Comic Book Chronicles interview. And let me tell you something, folks. When your kids are out of town for a week, vacationing on the sandy shores of Ames, Iowa, after a couple of days, you start to wonder, who haven't I talked to in a while that I would like to talk to? And the first person that popped into my head this week happens to be on the line right now. He's a comic book author and social media personality. The fourth and final issue of his comic book miniseries, The Digger, hit stands this week from Invader Comics. T.S. Luther, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, dude? Thanks for having me.
No, hey, thanks for coming back, my guy. You and I talked last year, of course, when The Digger was just coming out. Now, of course, it's wrapping up. How you feeling these days, man? What's on your mind as the Digger wraps up?
Oh, I mean, I'm tired, and I'm just trying to hustle and get more of these gigs. The one thing they don't tell you is if your book sells well, you want to do it again. Yeah. And so, like, that's what I'm desperately trying to do right now. I'm pitching everywhere that they've left a submission portal up by accident, so maybe one day you'll see me again.
Oh, well, hey, that's the hope, my friend. That's certainly the hope, at least on my end, and certainly on the ends of a lot of fans, because, I mean, The Digger, I guess it's fair to say that it outpaced expectations. I mean, it outsold expectations.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Definitely, at least for the publisher side. I know they were surprised when it sold so well. The distributor was really impressed and surprised. Not that they thought it wasn't going to do well, but we're part of the massive indies program, and you know that has every single level of indie, from like basically self-published, and you just made a deal with Massive, to a smaller publisher that just wasn't quite big enough to work with Lunar directly. Right. So everybody was impressed across the board. Nobody more than me. I was so surprised. I really thought I was going to crash and burn. I really thought I was going to owe Sam an apology, my co-creator on the book, because his art is so amazing and want to be seen everywhere. Yeah. And I was like, you hitched your horse to the wrong wagon. I don't know how well we're going to do. And then it sold out every single time. Issue 4 comes out next week, and the pre-orders on that were better than the rest of the issues.
Oh my God.
And we did a reprint as well, and those also sold really well. So I'm just surprised, honestly. I can't be more happy with how it did.
You know, when you do something creative, and I can kind of relate to this, do you go into it? I've heard other artists say this. Do you go into it assuming that it's not going to do well to keep your expectations low? I mean, do you just to temper your expectations? I mean, because you didn't really think that you weren't going to do that great, did you?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely did. You definitely temper your expectations, and it's not necessarily being pessimistic as much as pragmatic, right? There's a lot of stuff for people to read. The joke I make is that like comic book audiences are kind of like TLC, right? They stick to the rivers and lakes that they're used to. Like they want to do the thing that they know about, and when you have an indie comic or even just a smaller publisher comic, it's a risk, right? You only have so much money to spend. Yeah. And when Batman is right there, absolute Batman at that is right there, it's like, well, that's the safe bet. I'm going to spend my $5 there because I know what it's worth, and I know at least I'll have some enjoyment because I like Batman. Yeah. It's a tough sell to go, hey, try out this evil Indiana Jones comic book that no one's ever heard of from a publisher they've never heard of, you know? So you go in at least going, I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud of what my team did. I'm proud that the publisher likes it. Yeah. I don't know how well it's going to sell. I need to be okay if it doesn't.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. Real quick, for those of us in the audience who don't know, what is The Digger about? Give us the quick pitch.
Yeah, so the logline I always say is basically, what if Indiana Jones hunted Short Round? But it's about a young kid in 1930s Veracruz, Mexico. His grandmother's sick, and he's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, anything he can do to make ends meet. And this mysterious stranger rolls into town, this American with a hat who's looking for treasure, and the kid knows where the treasure is, so he starts guiding this mysterious stranger known as the Digger. But what he doesn't know is that the Digger is a not-so-nice guy, and he doesn't share very well. So the kid's in a lot of danger, but doesn't realize it.
Oh, man. Okay, so the book does so well, and for good reason. I mean, it's a great book, actually. It's one of my favorites of the year. I mean, does the success that you've had so far, does that offer you a sense of validation for the effort you've put in? Because, I mean, you really at one point decided you were going to buckle down and pursue comics and really go after them. We talked about that in our previous interview. I mean, just how does that feel when the book comes back for a second printing and you get all this positive feedback?
I mean, it definitely validates me on like a business side. I'm like, okay, I can do this. This wasn't the dumbest idea to quit my good job and make comic books. Like, I have the skill set. So it definitely validates me there. And like, you get a lot of that validation out of the way early on, because if you're going to pitch to a publisher, a lot of people have to say yes before it even gets to the direct market. So like you're convincing a lot of different people to take a chance on you. So by the time it gets to the market, I'm already really proud of the book. I already like know that there's some level of objectivity that the book is good. I mean, it's obviously art, it's all subjective, but there's some level of people like this on a certain level, so I don't stress too much about it. The thing that you can't ever go in with going, it's good, it's great, I'm happy about it, is you don't know if it's going to resonate with an audience. So that is the part that you stay nervous about, because even if you make a good book and all of your friends think it's good and your publisher thinks it's great, an audience just might not vibe with it that week, man. So,
and I mean, what do you think it is about the Digger that that resonates with audiences? I mean, obviously, you know, everybody's been a kid at some point. Kids are naturally very inquisitive and sometimes resourceful. The Indiana Jones thing is cool. I mean, what do you think it is about the book that people connect with?
I mean, like, the biggest thing, I think, is that it's surprising, right? Like, it is a book from a bunch of unknown people. When you pick it up, it doesn't look like it was drawn in green crayon, you know? And I think that's the thing that helps me at most publishers. I mean, I got calls from shops when people pre-order it going, who are you? Why are people pre-ordering your book? Like, what is this? Tell me about it. Yeah. And so, like, I think that's a big thing. It catches people off guard. And the other part of it is like, we're not afraid to give you some dread, give you some suspense. It's Indiana Jones and National Treasure. It has all of those things that you love about that type of movie, that genre, that adventure pulp, but it's got a little bit of a darker tinge to it. It's not afraid to go to those places, and I want you to be nervous for the characters inside. And I think that's the part that resonates with people. It's not necessarily a flavor of adventure you get often with that exact like subgenre.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, one of the things that really fascinated me about our first conversation was what you told me about the early creative process for the Digger. I mean, I think as you described it, and these are my words, I'm paraphrasing, but you kind of reverse engineered the idea based on what your artist, Sam Goodillan, who again is phenomenal, wanted to draw. Can you elaborate a little bit on that process? I mean, did you have the whole Indiana Jones hunts short round idea in your head, and then you know, Sam giving you that kind of dislodged it? I mean, how did that early creative process work?
Yeah, I mean, like, no, I definitely didn't have that idea before. I'm a big improv guy. Like, a game I used to play at parties that, like, got me to know that I was good enough at writing, at least in that fast form, was I used to go to parties and go, throw out a genre, throw out a property, and I'll tell you a story. And people would just, like, help me pitch these stories, and I would make them up on the spot. And so I took that into my pitch process. I used to listen to a lot of interviews with Robert Kirkman and Brian K. Vaughan and a lot of other creators, and that's what they would do. They would say, I don't have my magnum opus, I don't have that one story I want to tell. I ask the artist what they want to tell, so it becomes our project, and it helps me get a lot more yeses from artists that I want to work with. And so I just do that. I went to Sam, said, what do you want to draw? Eventually we landed on something. I know I've told a lot of people that he didn't like my first few sets of pitches. And it came to me that way. Something pulpy. And the What If Indiana Jones Hunted short round, a lot of that log line and a lot of that pitch comes from working backwards from something I knew could do well, pitching to a publisher, having that publisher pitch it as a license. That's a good log line that will make people buy it on the spot. Like, it's a good enough idea. Everybody understands all of those properties. It's a good comparison. No one has questions after that, right? The question isn't, I don't get it. Can you explain a little bit more? It's like, no, I understand. Like, everything makes sense. So it was really working backwards from that sentence that I knew Sam would say yes to, and then a publisher, and so on.
I mean, the whole fluid, kind of like you said, improvisational thing is fascinating to me. I mean, how long had you been doing that when you did that with Sam? I mean, have you always wanted to be a writer in that sense? I mean, does it go that far back?
I mean, it definitely does. I was the annoying kid who would lie on the playground about fantastical things, and I didn't understand that it was just because I wanted to tell stories. I thought I was just full of crap. And as I got older and I could channel that into more, it was like telling stories at parties and campgrounds and that kind of thing. And it wasn't until I was much, much older, working a job that I did not like, and right around COVID, that I realized, I'm like, I could do this. I can still spin a yarn. People like the stuff I've done. I've been telling short stories and pitching them to magazines and stuff for a small amount of time. But the thing that I'd always loved the most was comic books. Yeah. And so I was practicing writing comic books. I was writing those magnum opuses. I was getting my favorite books out and going, don't you want to write my favorite story? And I was getting a lot of no's. And I just remembered how good I was with the improv, and I remembered those words of wisdom, and I started pitching that to other artists, and I was having a lot more yeses. Not all of them, but I was having a lot more success. So it was just a really easy thing to fall into with my skill set, what I've heard worked at a much larger, grander, more successful scale, and so why not do the thing that works? Especially if you're already better at it.
You're such a, it feels like, student of the game, not just in terms of being creative and being open with the artist, but I mean, you're talking about what's the distributor going to think? What's the publisher going to think? I mean, you've got a business background. Is that kind of where that comes from?
Yeah, I mean, I was a corporate suit for automotive companies for a decade. Yeah, like I was a technical writer, but I was in all of those types of meeting rooms. I wore a literal suit to work every day. But also, so there's definitely that business mind of it. There's definitely the idea that you have these stakeholders, and the way that you stay in, you don't have to be a business person. You just need to recognize what works. If you can make those stakeholders money, you get to do it again. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. And I listen to a lot of industry podcasts and pay attention wherever I can, all of that different scuttlebutt to add up to how do you break in? Because maybe I'm just not a good enough writer, but even if you are, I feel like you have to be at least somewhat aware of how the business works to break in, because it's such a competitive area. There's a million really, really talented people already creating comics. They don't need new people. So if you're going to try to be one of those people, you have to know how the game is played. So I try to pay attention to all of that.
And it's so insightful, because when you, at least from my perspective, when you're a writer, you don't necessarily think about it like that. I mean, you do realize that the odds are kind of stacked against you, but in watching some of your videos, TS, one of the things I like about your social media presence is that while you're very personable and even excitable at times, you don't sugarcoat what the comic book industry is, and that it's really hard to get into. And like you said, there's already a lot of talented people in it. And, in some of your more personal vids, you can almost feel the fatigue in your voice a little bit. I mean, what do you do to pep yourself up when the days are hard? What do you do to keep the faith? How do you motivate yourself to keep chugging away at this thing?
I mean, I made myself commit to it when I was going to quit a very lucrative job. I have kids at home. I have a wife. I have stakeholders basically at home. That's really important too. So for me, that's the cheat code. That's the hack. There's no room for me to give up here. I'm too far in, the sunk cost fallacy and all of that. I cannot fail at this. So I'm going to keep going no matter what. I named my company Can't Be Killed Creations.
That's right.
Because I'm not going to quit. It doesn't matter how many times it breaks. I'm just going to keep going. So I don't have to worry about that. The motivation's already there. So every day I wake up, even if I don't want to, even if I'm not feeling it that day, part of the job as a writer is to go write something that day anyways. So for me, it's really easy. I have people counting on me, and so I'm going to do it.
Man, that's so crazy. I mean, well, it's not crazy. It's just your motivation and your energy are really uncanny. Real quick, in reviewing The Digger, the previous 3 issues, one of the things I said is that I don't think you can capture the same aura, the same vibe, the same feel that you have here with a different artist. Like if Sam had gone away for some reason and somebody else comes in, I don't think it's the same. Is there a particular sequence that Sam drew for the book that caught you off guard in how he approached it? Something that maybe he looked at different on the page that you did in your head? I mean, what's a sequence that stands out for you as far as his art is concerned? Because it is fantastic.
I appreciate that, man, and I will make sure to tell Sam, because I tell him he gets annoyed with me because everything he sends back, I'm like, this is incredible. I have no notes. I don't know what to tell you. It's awesome, every single time. But it really started with issue 1 when it was just thumbnails. It was some of the sketches. When I sent him the script for issue 1, one of the things that people notice a lot in this series, there's a lot of splash pages, a lot of double page spreads. I try to give Sam a room to breathe in there with his artwork. And that started with issue 1 because I had sent him a really simple splash page for the map sequences, all the travel sequences that you see in Indiana Jones. We make that a big part in these books. And it was the most gorgeous thing I had ever seen. It was just that Veracruz map, and he had taken the next set of pages and overlaid it on top. So the map was in the background, and you could see the entire bazaar in town.
Yeah.
And it just unlocked everything because I could see what he was trying to pull off. I understood his style on a heavier level, and basically what I say is, like, it went from being that classic, square to widescreen. Like, I saw that it was a much more cinematic book than I was making it, and that's the part that unlocked it. It was from page 1.
It's almost like reading a comic in IMAX,
Yes,
because
exactly.
it does feel like the world opens up because I know the pages you're talking about. It's really, it just feels like it opens up such a larger world. And one of the things, now, mind you, at the time of this recording, I have not read issue 4 yet. But one of the things that's been curious to me about the Digger is that our main character, the kid, is unnamed. At least as of issue 3, he's unnamed. What went into the decision to withhold that character's name, at least early on?
Sure. So I'm a big student of, like, mystery novels, like Agatha Christie, and, like, one of the things that you do in those books is you try to withhold the dead body as long as possible. Like, how long can you hold off? Can you make an interesting story? It's the Stephen King of it all, right? Like, how much fun can you have in that small town before the supernatural thing happens?
Right.
It's a little bit with the names, like, how much do you need? How much can I not give you to still make you care about those characters? Can I rise to that challenge? And the other part of it, the more artsy-fartsy part of it, is that you see a lot of the story through the Digger's lens, and the Digger doesn't care about anyone's name.
Okay.
The Digger goes by the Digger to himself. His name is John Smith. It doesn't matter. And so he doesn't care about the kid's name. The kid is the kid. Like, yeah. When you watch Indiana Jones, like, half the times when he refers to, you think Short Round's name is Short Round? Like, it's just, he's the kid, Yeah. So there's a little bit of that part of it. His name is Raphael. I think I've mentioned it on one other podcast one time, if you would like to know. It's not a big mystery at all. It's just that the Digger doesn't care, and the names aren't important to that relationship. You understand those roles. It's a father and son story at a really scary level.
I wanted to ask you about that, but I didn't. I originally thought not to, but hey, you brought it up. So was the idea, because we saw in issue 3 the scene with the young kid Raphael, now we know his name, and his father, and how he's got this loving but kind of sad relationship with his father, and then we've sort of got this kind of scary surrogate father here with the Digger. I imagine you did that intentionally then?
Of course, yeah, it's a very father and son story. That's kind of what unlocked it when I was in the outlining phase, was, okay, this is a strange father and son story. My dad passed away when I was really young, and so you have a lot of surrogate fathers in your life, and not all of them are good, and not all of them have good intentions, and not everybody is on that same level. It's not always just evil, you don't always just have an evil stepfather. Sometimes you have one who's just not so great. Maybe he cares about you, but he's a bad person. And that's what I wanted to play with the Digger, is he doesn't always have the worst intentions at heart for the kid. He's just a crazy psychopath, and so sometimes that comes across strange, and, like, that's a lot of what is involved in issue 3. And you get to see some of the Digger's past with his father in a flashback in issue 2, so that was always at the heart of the story.
God, you're smart. You should have a podcast. Okay.
Thanks, man.
So inevitably the question becomes, when something is successful, are you gonna do a sequel? Are you gonna do something that follows up on the Digger? Your response, sir?
I mean, I would love to, is my response. I'm a tool, so I'll sell it. Let's do the Digger 2, Electric Boogaloo, the Digger in Space, all of that stuff, But for real, it's up to Invader if they wanted more issues. It's up to Sam if he wants to draw more of that story. A lot of this story is finished at issue 4. We had 4 issues in mind. We weren't sure that we would get more. We weren't sure that we were going to get the 4. So there's a complete story here. There is room to tell more stories in this universe, though. I will say that without spoiling anything. And me and Sam have discussed what we would do if we did a second volume. But Sam is an artiste at the heart of it, and he doesn't want to draw more of the Digger right at this moment. He has several other projects lined up, some with me, some with other people, so he's going to take a break from it. But I won't say that we'll never do more of the Digger. I think that there's more on the way eventually.
I was going to say, but sign me up, my guy. Sign me up. So, okay, sequel or not, you mentioned at the top here, you're doing a lot of pitching right now. You mentioned something with Sam. What's next for you if it's not a Digger sequel?
I mean, I don't know what's next right now. Like, because the Digger kind of came out of nowhere, more publishers will open up my emails. I will tell you that it was very difficult pitching anything to anybody at any level before this, and now it's not as hard. It's still not easy. It's not like Marvel's beating down my door for me to write the next Daredevil, you know? But more people are at least open to hearing from me. I've been able to pitch at much larger publishers than I could before, and having made money for Invader, they're really, really happy with the book. They want me to do more things for them, so there's more opportunities there. There's nothing set in stone yet. I have a few indie and freelance books. I just did a book for a really small publisher called Brain Damage Comics. It's called Closing Shop. It's kind of Clerks through a GameStop lens, as a closing the last day of a GameStop store. So that's probably the next book you'll see from me that's coming out. It's a small one-shot. But I'm pitching everything everywhere, so I won't say never say never. You'll see me pop up somewhere, but I don't know where it is yet. Unless you go to New York Comic Con, because I'll be there. Okay,
excellent. Well, I can't wait to see what you do next, honestly, whether it's in social media form or in comic book form. What are you enjoying right now, comic book wise? You mentioned before we hit record that you were doing a little bit of reading before we came on. What you reading, my guy?
Oh yeah, man, I'm always reading like 40 books, man. I try to read at least a trade a day or a trade's worth of comics a day. I love Ed Brubaker. Anything that he writes, I'm reading his and Martin's Friday. Love that series. I'm on volume 2 of that. Just read Ghost Pepper. That was good. I'm almost done with Lost Fantasy. I didn't pick up volume 2 yet, but I was enjoying that one. This is my favorite right now that I'm reading is Maniac of New York from Aftershock.
Okay.
That one's really, really fun. That one's basically... We've gotten so used to Jason. Jason is like mass shootings in this universe. Jason comes back, like supernatural killer, comes back every like few years, and New York has just gotten used to it. So instead of passing legislation to save people or solve the problem, they're just like, nah, just don't worry about it. That's part of living in New York is, you know, there's a supernatural killer that comes back every few years. And so I'm having a blast with that one. And like 40 other books, all of the superhero things that you think I should be reading, I'm reading those too. Everything absolute. I'm sad about the Ultimate Universe ending, but I'm back onto all the 616 stuff. I love comic books. I'm a reader first, so I could sit here all day and tell you all the stuff I'm reading. That's the stuff that's on the shelf because that's what I was reading before the meeting started. But
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like you've got a diverse palette, which I guess you would have to if you want to be in the medium and be as adept at improvising as you are.
Right. I don't know if you have to. I suggest it to people. Like, you know, big student of Stephen King, you got to have input to have output. And I try to take in stories from every single medium, video games, audio books, whatever. But I love comic books, so that's a big part of it. I think it's really interesting how many people don't read that much in comic books and still go into it, whether it's at the indie level or at higher levels. But I feel like it's my job as someone who's trying to break into comics, as someone who is a writer, that I need to do all of the homework. And it's the funnest homework that you can get. Like, it's the coolest thing that is a part of my job. This is a literal tax write-off. I know some people don't understand taxes, but it really is. It's research. So that's really helpful to me, and I love it. It's a good excuse. Like, oh, no, I'm working. Excuse me, you know?
There you go. Well, folks, The Digger #4 hits shops on July 29th. Its author is T.S. Luther, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir.